real growth, real lasting change, becoming who you want to be and showing up in your life in a way you're proud of, it doesn't come from just mindset work or just somatic practices or just studying spiritual teachings. It comes when you bring them all together. Hello and welcome to the Gratitude and Growth Podcast, your compass for a grateful and growth-filled life. I'm your host, Sarah Mittich. I'm an actor, a transformational life coach, and the founder of Gratitude and Growth. But above all, I am a wildly curious person, and I have spent over a decade researching and studying the worlds of mindset, somatics, spirituality, and self-discovery, all to understand why we do what we do, who we innately are, and how we actually become the person that we want to be. So whether you're driving or walking, or just taking a break from your day, thank you so much for being here and for joining me as we explore what it is to be a human being in this lifetime. Hello, and welcome back to another episode. Today, I want to talk about a phrase that I think gets thrown around a lot, but it rarely gets explained in a way that feels clear and doable. And that's mind-body-soul balance. It sounds beautiful. It sounds like something we should all be aiming for. But what does it actually mean? And more importantly, how do we live it? That is what I want to demystify today. Because I truly believe that this balance is not some lofty goal reserved for the wellness elite, or something that only monks or full-time spiritual seekers can achieve. It's actually within reach, and I believe it's actually the key to becoming who you want to be. You just have to know what it looks like, and how to integrate it into your very real and everyday life. Mind-body-soul balance doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you stop chasing quick fixes and you start showing up for yourself, your whole self, and not just one part of you. So let's talk about what it really means. First off, we are a three-part being: mind, body, and soul. And to live in balance, we need to care for, listen to, and exercise all three parts. Here's what I know to be true. You can't change your thinking without integrating it into your body. You can't regulate your nervous system without also working on your mind. And you can't grow spiritually without grounding it in everyday life. So often we pick one lane and we hope that it fixes everything. Maybe you start with mindset work, with reading the books, journaling, shifting your self-talk. And yes, that is so powerful. But your body still feels stuck. Or maybe you dive into somatic work, nervous system regulation, breath work, yoga, and that gives you peace until the old thought patterns take you out of it again. Or maybe you open yourself spiritually. You feel more connected, more present. Certain things about life start to make sense, but it doesn't stick because your body isn't on board and your mind keeps spinning. Real growth, real lasting change, becoming who you want to be and showing up in your life in a way you're proud of, it doesn't come from just mindset work or just somatic practices or just studying spiritual teachings. It comes when you bring them all together. That is when real transformation happens. Integration isn't extra, it's essential. That's where the presence is born, in the integration of all three parts of us. So I'll be honest, in my own journey, I was a jumper. So I started with mindset work. I devoured books. I filled journal after journal after journal. I studied my thought patterns, my inner dialogue, and yes, it helped me see myself, learn myself in a way that I never had before. But I hit a wall. So then I jumped to spiritual teachings. I studied the texts from all traditions, east to west and back again. I learned to observe, to listen, to surrender. And that helped me hear myself. It helped me hear who I actually was. But I'll be honest and say that that came to a wall too. So then I moved into somatic practices, especially breath work. And that's when I started to feel myself again. I learned how to move my emotions through me. I understood what my nervous system was and what it needed. And each of these modalities opened something. Each one of them moved me forward until they didn't. Until I realized I was jumping from one tool to the next, hoping one would finally fix me permanently, hoping that one would be the answer. I kept jumping from tool to tool until I realized it wasn't about finding the right one. It was about weaving them all together. When I stopped trying to solve myself and started trying to support myself in a very whole way, in a truly holistic way, that's when things really began to change. That is when I finally started to feel steady, clear, whole. Not perfect. Let me be real and say that. Life and growth isn't about perfection or becoming perfect. It's about becoming present. You become who you want to be when you can show up with presence to whatever life is throwing at you in that exact moment. And look, before I started living this way, I didn't even realize how off I felt. So I was constantly either overthinking or completely checked out. My body felt tense most of the time, tight jaw, sometimes restless sleep. And emotionally, if I sit back and look at it now, I would swing at times. I would just swing from numb to overwhelmed. And sometimes there wasn't much in between those two. I was absolutely surviving, don't get me wrong, but I definitely wasn't in balance. Now, when I am in balance, it doesn't mean that everything's perfect again, but I notice the difference. I respond instead of react. I can feel my feet on the ground. I can breathe deeper. And I'm not constantly spiraling in my head or spinning out of my body. I'm present. I'm here now. I'm not nearly as stressed. I'm way more calm. I'm more inspired. And I'm actually able to accomplish way more. When you're not in balance, everything in life feels like a fight. And when you are in balance, life feels like there's room again. Okay, so what does this actually look like? How do you actually integrate mind, body, soul balance? It's simple, not always easy, but pretty simple. So I started caring for each part of me every single day. I did the mindset work, journal, self-inquiry, catching my thought loops. Then I moved my body, yoga, jogging, strength training, whatever fit my current season. I practiced breath work. And look, just 5 minutes some days, but it shifted everything. And I meditated, sometimes deeply, sometimes briefly, but always with intention. The consistency mattered more than the intensity. You don't need hours of practice. You need presence that actually works in your real day-to-day life. Not everyone can just overhaul their life to go work on themselves. I get that. We have jobs, we have responsibilities. So it's about finding how to create that balance for you, for your schedule. And that is what integration really is. When I started living this way, I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was showing up for my work, for my relationships, for me. And friendly reminder, this is your life, and you only have the one. Like I said, I became clearer, calmer, less reactive, more resilient. I finally understood what emotional resilience meant. But I was in balance. Again, not all the time, but more often than not. And that alone changed everything. If there's one thing I know, it's this. You can't journal your way out of trauma if your body is still locked in fight or flight. You can't meditate your way to peace if your thoughts are spiraling unchecked. And you can't evolve spiritually if you never bring that insight back into your actual life. They all matter. And more importantly, they all work together. The truth is, when you live from only one part of yourself, the other parts don't get what they need. If you're all in your mind, your body holds the tension. If you're only focused on your body, but you never examine your thoughts or your patterns, you just keep repeating them. And if you're deep in spiritual practice, but not grounded in real life, you might feel connected, but still unsteady. Especially when you return to this very real world that we live in. And that's not failure. That's just imbalance. And most people are stuck there without even realizing it. Growth isn't about finding the one tool that works. It's about layering the ones that do. These are the 4 pillars that changed my life: mindset work, movement, breath work, and meditation. They touch the mind, the body, and the soul. And they're not complicated. Even just 5 to 10 minutes a day with any of them will begin to shift how you feel, how you think, and most importantly, how you show up. And when you weave them together, woof! You create a life of balance, clarity, calm, resilience. Okay, so here's your gentle invitation and challenge this week, should you choose to accept it. Take a moment and check in with all parts of you today. What am I thinking? What is my body feeling? What is my soul craving? You don't have to do anything or change anything yet. Just notice it. And if a breath, a stretch, or a journal calls to you, follow it. That's integration. That is the beginning of balance. And if you're looking for a space where you can explore all of this, mindset, movement, breath work, meditation, all in one place, it's actually exactly why I created the Gratitude and Growth Studio. It's a resource to support your real life balance and your real life growth in your very real life. Okay. And as always, I'm going to end with one thing I'm grateful for and one thing I'm growing through. Today, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm so grateful for sunshine and just how sunshine feels on my body, what it does for my mood. I'm grateful to live somewhere where sunshine is a constant. And so I'm just so grateful for the sun and the warmth and everything that it gives me. And something I'm growing through today, this week, we just launched the Gratitude and Growth Studio. And the feedback has been wonderful and inspiring and motivating. And I'm also just growing through this next phase of entrepreneurship. And I'm growing through how I show up in this new way for me. So it's been, the past few months have been a massive journey for me. And I'm so proud of what I've created, but the growth is never ending. And sometimes I think entrepreneurship is one of the greatest spiritual journeys you can take. And so I'm growing through it right now. But I will say I'm super grateful for that growth too. All right. Thank you so much for joining me, as always. And as always, stay grateful and keep growing. Bye for now. Thanks so much for tuning in today. If this episode resonated, send it to someone you love. And please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you're craving deeper support, The G&G Studio is here for you. With mindset work, movement, breath work, guided meditations, and a like-minded community, it has all the tools and support you need to grow, all in one place. And the best part? You get to move at your own pace, in your own way. You can explore the G&G Studio anytime at www.gratitudegrowth.com. And hey, if you leave me a review on Apple Podcasts and you send me the screenshot, I will send you a free exclusive guided meditation called Gratitude for Growth as a thank you gift for supporting the show. Your subscribes, reviews, likes, comments really help get this content out to even more people, so your support truly does go a long way. You can find the form to submit in the show notes. And I hope to see you back here soon, as we continue to explore this wild and beautiful thing that we all call life.